Something is coming. Something hungry for blood.
What is it?
The Demogorgon!
We're in deep shit.
Now we have to go.
Later.
See you tomorrow.
Good night, ladies.
Kiss your mom night for me.
Will is missing. I don't know where he is.
99 out of 100 times, kid goes missing. The kid is with a parent or a relative.
What about the other time?
What?
You said 99 out of 100. What about the other time? The one. The one.
Will! Will! Guys, I really think we should turn back.
You guys hear that? That's not Will. You're in trouble, aren't you?
We've sealed off this area.
This is where it came from?
Yes.
And the girl?
She can't have gone far. Find her.
Do you really think it was a coincidence that we found her at the same place where Will disappeared?
Something is going on here.
What the hell?
She knows about Will.
Is there any way that you could reach him?
Yes.
What if this whole time I've been looking for Will? I've been chasing after something else.
Guys, David Harbour. David, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on a banner year, 2 extremely successful projects.
Thank you. Yeah.
Before I shower you with praise on your
Okay.
performance in this,
Don't
and
wait too long.
We talk about the other details. I think I have to ask you the first question that's on everybody's mind
Okay.
when you're around with Stranger Things. Barb, did you even care to look?
I think there's a very quiet moment in episode 6 where you see a flicker of compassion in Hopper's eyes for Barb.
Is it him
But
going,
other than
oh
that-
yeah, her, shit.
Oh yeah, we all forget about Barb. Apparently, the creators have assured me there will be justice for Barb in
I've
season
heard.
2, which I don't know what that means, but I will disappoint you, and I'm pretty sure she's pretty dead. So I don't know that Barb will be coming back,
So
but
then
there
I
will
hope
be justice.
that the justice for Barb is she returns as the undead and wreaks havoc on all of you
She
for
might be the
forgetting about
monster of
her.
season 2. That would be like amazing. Yeah, Barb comes back and kills Chief Hopper. That would be great. That's the arc.
Talk about landing this role, because even if you got a script, you heard about the project, you met these guys and you love them, and there were people behind the project that you trusted, there's no way ever you could predict that it would become a phenomenon in the way that it has become. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But talk about getting the script for the first time and what your initial thoughts were.
I mean, I got this, it was sent to me, and I remember reading it and thinking it was like the best pilot script I'd read, maybe ever, but certainly in a long time. And also thinking that I would never be cast in this role, like thinking that they're definitely going to want a star, and they're definitely going to want somebody who's more of a name. And so I was very, excited by the material. And but apparently the guys were really interested in me, and I went in and made a tape. I read for it, and then they were very interested in me, and it all sort of spiraled out from there. I know there was some convincing to be done, because it's weird that, we have Winona, and that sort of gives it name recognition, but all the rest of us are, relatively unknown. Like, we've all done a lot of work, but we're relatively unknown on that level. And I think Netflix took a chance with some actors, and I think, we all knew that, and I think brought our A game as a result of that as well.
I wouldn't sell yourself too short.
Thank you.
You've been a part of some pretty incredible projects in supporting roles. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I've had one of these careers where, like, I've done a lot of work, and you've sort of been that guy from that thing, or it's like you'll go see a movie and you'll be like, oh, that guy, like,
Not gonna lie, Stranger Things' first response was that, and then I looked
That
up.
was
I
your
like,
first
"Wait, no,
response when you-
I love this guy. He's in everything."
Oh yeah, I love that guy. I love that guy. Yeah, but being that guy is different for the studio to take a chance on you to sort of be the guy. You know, like, I mean, Stranger Things has a bunch of different storylines. There's tons of, but, you know, Hopper is kind of the male lead of it, you know, the adult male lead at least. And so for them to take a chance on me was really, you know, very gratifying and very humbling, and I really wanted to do justice to the material. So I really went to work on the soul of this guy. Like, I really wanted to do a lot of work to create a really special character. And I think it was in the writing, and then I was able to bring a lot of stuff that I understood about that type of individual too. And so it was kind of a great fit.
Can you elaborate at all on like what type of stuff you brought to the role?
I mean, a lot of my work is really personal, you know, like with any sort of artist work, like I've played a lot of villains in my career. Like, I play a lot of bad guys. And so what I really liked about the character was I wanted to make him a bit of a bad guy in the beginning. Like, not a bad guy, but like a guy that you don't trust, you aren't sure about. And then I wanted him to grow into a heroic, stature, because I like that journey. And I think that one of my things about acting in general is that if it can do anything in this world, I think it can maybe open people's hearts to the fact that people are more complicated than maybe you give them credit for when you initially meet them. And that guy that cuts you off, who you hate, or the guy that you have a prejudice toward, has a story, and that his or her story has led them to a certain group of character traits which you might not like, but the more you understand their story, the more empathy you can have and the more compassion that maybe you can have for this person. So that was one of the interesting things about starting this work, was like I wanted to make him a guy who you were like, this guy's kind of a jerk, like this guy hates children, he drinks, he pops pills, he kind of makes fun of people, he's kind of a jerk. And then I wanted you to see that shtick that he has developed came out of a place of real tragedy, personal tragedy in his life, and then you can have more compassion for him. So that was sort of the arc of the character that I wanted to start with in terms of building. And then in terms of building that, I used a lot of it is owning your own instrument at a certain point. Like, it's when you're on TV or on movies, like there's a lot of, you want to look good, and there's a lot of narcissism that I had to battle. Like even coming down to the first scene where I have my shirt off was like, you read that in the script and you're like, oh, I want to look good. Like I'm going to work out. I'm going to like do a bunch of crunches and eat, And then so I had to really take stock and be like, no, this is a guy he was in Hawkins, Indiana. He's a police chief. He's not going to work out. Like he doesn't have one of those bodies. Like he's a normal guy. He's an ordinary guy. And I wanted to embrace those things. I wanted to embrace those aspects of my instrument and my experience that are maybe somewhat unpalatable or somewhat things that I don't like about myself. And I wanted to bring those to the character. And one of them is, my body neurosis in this culture that we exist in. And so I wanted to embrace that as opposed to shy away from that. And that was one of the risks that I took that I think was ultimately really great.
Absolutely, and I think it's also a minor testament to the Duffer Brothers and even Netflix, whereas I think most studios or networks would be like, no, that's your male lead. He's got to have a six-pack.
Let's make him look sexy. Yeah, let's.
He drinks like a case of beer a night, and that does not matter. He needs a six-pack.
Yeah, exactly.
You always see in movies someone's like a drunk, but they're physically fit.
What I'm hoping about with this whole thing, like the popularity of it, which I love,
will allow you to continue working without having to work out.
Yes, that's absolutely true. But also, I think that people, at least like back in the 70s, I think we did a little better. Is like, I think people want to see ordinary people represented on screen.
Elliot Gould was a sex symbol in the 70s.
I know, amazing, right? Amazing. And I think we want to see people that are ordinary people represented, people we can identify with, and then see them take heroic action so that maybe in our lives, I know Hopper makes me want to be a better man. Like, I can see a man who I can identify with and then see him take a heroic action, do something heroic, and then maybe in my life I can experience something where I'm like, oh yeah, I can make the right choice. I can do the thing. Whereas my problem with, I may be shooting myself in the foot with the rest of my career, but my problem with the current trend of a lot of the comic book movies is that they're so far outside of us that we sit back in the theater and we admire them. They're like hot and they're amazing and they're strong and they're, but I have trouble identifying with guys like that because I can't go on their journey with them. I can sit back and sort of like a fancy car, like kind of admire it, but I want a car that I can afford and then like get in and drive and find out it's an amazing thing. So
I've got 45 minutes and 95% of comic book movies that I can kind of make it, and then I'm sort of just totally out like lost. And
yeah, it's a bit exhausting. I mean, you know, I want art to be representative of us. I don't want it to be something that's outside of us. So yeah, it's a bit exhausting.
So you talk about relatability. I have to ask, you were born in 74. The movies are...
I was born in 75, by the way.
75,
Yeah, IMDb is wrong. And I'm not just saying that to make myself look younger, although I am younger. I'm only 41. I was born in 75, but yes.
Anyway, you're a child of the 80s.
I am, yeah. I'm
Anyways,
very much a child of the age, 5 to 15, yeah.
Did you relate to these kids? Were you like these kids at all when you were growing up? Were you big
Yeah,
into Spielberg and D&D? And
Yeah, I love those movies. I mean, I saw Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark in the movie theater 13 times because my grandmother took me to it because she liked air conditioning. And like they had really great air conditioning in the movie theater, so she took me to it. And I remember like I love the snake scene, like when he looks down at the snakes, he's like, snakes, what have to be snakes. So I love those movies. I mean, there was something back in that time of like the magic of the movies, which I mean, look, I'm glad, there's a lot of different types of movies, but I feel like there was something about the blockbuster of that time that really had magic to it that I feel like we've lost a little bit of, and I don't know why.
Well, there's also, even just saying that you saw that movie 13 times in the theater, I don't think I've talked to a person who's seen a movie a second time in the theater in a decade. Like I sometimes will see a movie a second time in the theater because I like that experience, but I rarely bump into anyone who's like, I've seen that movie in the theater 3, 4, 5 times because I love it so much.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, the tagline for Titanic for a while was see it again for the first time because people were seeing it so many times. And I think the show harkens back to this era where we absorbed pop culture in a much different way. We were all somewhat awestruck about it.
Yeah, and there really was like, I don't know if there's a kind of clunkiness to it. Like I think that everything is so slick nowadays that I think it's hard to really love it. Like I think the people we fall in love with in our lives are not the people that, at least for me, not the people that are perfect, but the people that need our love, in a sense. And movies of that time sort of had a clunkiness to them. Like even look at like leading men, like, I mean, I love Harrison Ford, and the reason why I love him kind of is he's so angry and weird. Like, he's a leading man, but he's like Han Solo and Indiana Jones. They're like not nice guys. Like, they're angry and they get mad at people for no reason. Like, I was just watching that scene. There's a scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where the ship captain comes in to, like, ferret Indy around. And you look at the scene on the page, and you're like, oh, he should just greet this guy. He should just be nice to this guy. And Harrison Ford is just mean to this guy for no reason. And I don't know that we make choices like that anymore, but there's a kind of clunkiness to that person that I love. Like, I love that guy. That guy's a character.
How much do you think that was an acting choice and more just like Harrison Ford in the moment?
Part of the thing about acting is we can't, we make choices, but we ultimately can't hide ourselves. Right. Like, ultimately, you reveal yourself as a human being when you act. And so, yeah, Harrison Ford, I've never met him, and he's an amazing artist and an amazing guy, but I have a feeling that he also is, which I identify with. He's got some anger and he's got some issues. But like, I like my actors to have issues. I like them to be broken.
Just imagining that directing Harrison Ford in that moment. You're gonna go over here. You're gonna say hi to him, and he's like, "Sure." And then he does it, and they're like, "I guess that's how he's gonna do it. Let's move on." Okay.
Dude, ask the Duffer Brothers about working with me. It's like kind of the same thing. It's a little bit of the same thing.
In what way?
Well, I do the same stuff. I mean, I'm very passionately protective of my character, and so we had a great working relationship, me and the Duffers. But there would be times when they'd be like, "Can you be a little nicer? Like they're children," and I was like, yeah, just roll it again. Like, let's just do it again. And then I'd be even meaner.
And let's talk about these kids. These kids are unbelievable.
Yeah, I know, they're so good, right?
When we had them on this stage, I was like, you are built for this. You're amazing.
I know. Like, you work your whole life, and you're 41, and you give a performance that you're proud of, and these children are like 11 years old, like, just tearing it up. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
When you saw this group of kids, though, did you feel there's an element that I could imagine on set? You would be like, wow, this is incredible casting. This is going to work out really well.
Actually, you know, Winona and I came on early. We were the first one sort of cast. And then I was down, where was I? I think I was in Atlanta shooting something. And the Duffers sent me the audition tapes for the kids. They were like, we found our kids. Do you want to see their audition tapes? And I was like, yeah, because that's the one thing I was terrified of. I was like, so a lot of your story is based on children. I was like, oh man, like you better get some good actors. And they sent me these tapes. And I was so, like, I was giddy. Like, I was touched, and I was laughing, and I showed it to all my friends, and I was just like, look at these kids, they're so adorable.
I interviewed them, I felt the same way.
Yeah,
I
right?
consistently just wanted to be like, look what they're doing. They're kids, and they're doing this.
I know, and also, not only are they adorable, and they're real kids, they're also, like, extraordinary actors. Like, you know, Dustin's done Les Mis, and Caleb was in like they've done so much work. So they're pros, you know, they're total pros. But also they haven't lost that quality, which is like they're children. Like you interviewed them, right? They're like, you know, they're like weird, and they like, you know, move around and like make weird jokes, and, you know, not everything lands, and you're like, like I gotta hang out with these people. These are my co-stars, like 12-year-old boys. The one group I've been trying to get away from my whole life, 12-year-old boys.
Since I was 12.
Yeah, exactly. 12-year-old boy. I was a 12-year-old boy. They're the worst.
Speaking of, you know, being kind of prickly on set, you've made a few movies with director David Ayer at this point, right?
Prickly on set, yes. Yeah.
I think he would cop to that. Every actor who works for him feels comfortable discussing working with David Ayer.
Yeah, I did a couple. I'm in that Suicide Squad movie, and then I did End of Watch with
that
was the
Suicide
first-
Squad movie?
Yeah, that Suicide Squad movie. And then I did End of Watch with him, and that was like a real LAPD cop movie. And I remember like we did some crazy stuff for that. Like he's very gung ho about research, and I'm like, I want to play a cop on TV, but like I want it to be a plastic gun, and I want to like I'm not a cop. Like I'm just not a cop. Like, and I don't, you know, the emotional life of a cop. Maybe I can explore stuff like that, but those guys are so far. You know, they live in a world that I can't live in. And he wanted us to kind of live in that world. And like, you know, we'd go on ride-alongs with the LAPD, and then we did a bunch of training with the PD, and I'm not. I mean, push-ups and all. I was like, please. And then at the end of the training, the LAPD officers all do this thing where they get tasered, and they get pepper sprayed. And so I remember Jake Gyllenhaal did it. And so, like, you know, like if Jake Gyllenhaal does it, you're like not gonna be the guy. You're like, he's the lead of the movie, so it's like, okay. So they tasered me. They tasered me, and they put a thing in your hip here, and then a thing in your foot. This is not what happened to my foot, by the way. But so they shoot the electricity through your leg, and they have two cops hold you up while it happens, so you don't immediately collapse. And I will say this, if a cop tells you that he's going to taser you, stop whatever you're doing. Because it is the most painful thing I have ever experienced.
Wow.
I mean, it is the most painful thing I've never, but then as soon as it ended, it was like gone from, it didn't linger at all.
Did it help with your performance?
It helped. I hope you can really read that in my. No, not at all. I didn't need it, please. I just need to think about like stuff in my life, please. Thanks for the tasering, David.
This that Suicide Squad movie, as you refer to it, is one of the most successful.
I know. I haven't
movies of the
seen
year.
it yet, though. I can't really talk about it. I know.
How have you not seen the movie?
I don't know. I've been like busy.
Well, what was it? What was it?
I mean,
like?
I have this and I can't go to a movie theater because it like hurts too much. It's like
Really?
Yeah, it like starts to get painful and stuff, and you know,
I don't think that's true.
it's not true.
I think you could make it through
That's
a
my
2-hour
story.
movie.
That's my story. No, if there's a movie theater with a couch where I could like lift it up, we got
fair enough.
Okay.
What?
There are?
Oh, there you go.
Oh no.
So they.
Now I'm really busted.
really want you to
now
see
I'm
this
really
movie.
busted. Oh no.
What was it? What was it like working on this movie? It was like this massive movie. For
Yeah, it was
Warner
like a
Brothers.
massive movie. I mean, I've never worked on a movie this big before. It was, you know, there's just so many elements to it. Like they would do this crazy thing where they would confiscate cell phones, like when you walked onto set, because they didn't want anything leaks and stuff. And I've never experienced. I mean, it was really like being in like the NSA or like in the CIA or something. It's like, we'd take your cell phone. Like, it was very serious. And like, I'm generally not too serious of a guy in terms of that stuff. Like, so yeah, it was strange. I mean, it was just amazing because, like, you know, there's no scene in a boardroom. I don't know if it's still in the movie. I think it is in the movie.
If I remember correctly,
okay. There's a scene in the boardroom where like I'm talking about Superman stuff. Okay,
yeah, that's in the movie.
Okay, in the movie, there's a scene with the boardroom, and I remember all those people around the boardroom. Normally, they'll cast extras for those roles, you know, because they don't have any speaking roles. And we were in Canada, and they were all actors. Like, they were all accomplished Canadian actors. And there were like 20 of them, and they had no lines. And I was like, whoa, like, this is a big production. This is like a lot of money where you guys are like hiring these people and you really want things to be, you know, big and authentic and stuff. So that was very impressive.
That's like a director who's essentially like, oh, I have the money. These are all actors that I would like to work with at least for a day.
Yeah.
Get them here.
And also, like, they're going to bring something. Like, even in a shot in the background, they're going to bring something of their work. And so, you know, that kind of attention to detail and that kind of money to back it up was amazing.
So after having been tased by for David, were you wary working with him again?
I needed the job. I needed the work. No, a little bit, but like, you know, he's cool. Like, I was game for a lot of that stuff, and I really am game for some of that stuff. So I wasn't that leery. You know, I've had a lot worse directors, to be honest. Like, a lot more hard directors about me, like my performance. Like, David was very generous about performances. Like, he was actually very sweet, and like, he can be very kind. He likes the rugged, like, cop stuff, but he's really into actors. And I've had directors that are not into actors and that are very mean to actors, and that to me is much more difficult.
How is that? That blows my mind when I hear actors talk about that, because they're the people who are on screen. They're the people who are trying to deliver the performance. How does it work when a director sort of behaves like that towards an actor? Does it actually get the performance out in it?
Well, that's the thing. Like, sometimes there's a method to that madness. I mean, sometimes it's just jive, and they're just jerks, and they just think that their movie can survive without a good performance. But sometimes, you know, whatever it takes to make a good movie. I mean, so that may be part of your style. I know Hitchcock was that way. I think even Kubrick was that way with The Shining. I know he tortured that actress, Shelley Duvall, and he got a performance out of her that's quite extraordinary. And I know that, like, I'm at a level in my career where it's not like I'm a jerk, but like, I care more about the work than I do about how people view me on set or being friends with people. So when I'm on set working, like, it's kind of gratifying to be in it, or to really bring what you got to bring, because the work is personal. And it's like, when I'm annoyed with Joyce in the show, like, I'm annoyed with Winona. I mean, it like, there's a separation. You don't take it home with you, but in the actual moment, that is when it's working, it's personal. And like, I don't like you. And it's not like, and that's what makes it electric. And you can see people that, you know, you see performances where they fake it and they're like, I don't like him. And it's like, that's not as effective. Because I want to see people that are viscerally affected and that, you know, go through something. And so, you know, sometimes if directors can do that and make you go through that, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. It
must be reassuring to do a scene like that with someone like Winona, who's sort of been in this business for so long.
She's such a pro. Like, she's such a pro. And I think she's working on a level that is almost subconscious. Like, I mean, I know she has a process, a conscious process, but also, like, she's just done it for so long, as you say, and she's so personal in her work that it was, like, such a gift. I was like, oh my God, I can do things, and because of her performance, they're gonna work. But if I didn't have her in the scene with me, my performance wouldn't work. Like, my performance only works in the show because of her. She's extraordinary and so fun to work with and so willing to throw down with me. And like, I'm a big guy and a big presence. I have a loud voice. I'm strong. And she is like, she will like read me. And like, I mean, I was like, she's a little bitty
Winona Ryder is very tiny.
Like, I'm going. If it was your son, like that scene in the end where it's like, she's going to come in the river with me. And I was like, I remember on that take and you see my face, I was like, oh my God, like, this woman hates me. It's great.
With a show like Stranger Things, people want to know plot details, and no one can ever give them. But having you on stage, I wouldn't do my due diligence or my job by not
Plot
asking
details
you.
for season 2?
For season 2.
Oh, man.
Now, who are you giving the waffle to at the end of season 1? Is that 11?
Surprise.
I gotta ask. I know you can't say anything, but
Yeah.
come up with some sort of witty response
All
anyway.
right. No, I mean, I will tell you that, like, there's no way you can create a character as iconic as 11 in our show and, like, just kill her at the end of season 1. Like, you gotta bring her back for something or in some form. Like
Form of Barb.
That would be amazing. If, like, Millie was just in those glasses and that blouse. Like a
Or
little...
if it was just Millie saying, I'm Barb, and everybody had to go along. Okay, I guess it's Barb is back.
We used to call you 11, but now you're okay. So I do think that in season 2 you can expect, and one of the interesting things about Hopper's story is that he lost a daughter, and so I think in this character of 11, who at the end of the series he gives her up. I mean, he kind of sells her out, and I have my own justifications for that, but I think there's a lot of guilt in there, and I think there's a lot of, and it's a young girl who's like, it would be his daughter's age. His daughter died at 5 years ago. So I think that what you'll see in season 2 is a lot of stuff with Hopper and 11 kind of searching for meaning. She's looking for Papa, which she thought she had in this guy that manipulated her and used her. And I'm looking for redemption in terms of a girl, my daughter, who I couldn't save. And so hopefully you'll see those characters interact a lot, and you'll see a lot of that emotional complexity, along with a rip-roaring story, swashbuckling, rip-roaring sci-fi tale. At the heart of it, hopefully you'll see these two people who are trying to right the wrongs that they have, that have happened to them in season 1.
How far along is season 2 right now? Are they just writing it and?
I think they have half of the first episode. No, I don't. They don't. They don't. They
literally just got
They
renewed
lie
like
to
3
me.
weeks
They
ago.
lie to me. Like, I ask for stuff and they lie to me. They don't tell me the truth. I know they have the whole thing arced out, and we start shooting in October, in like late October. So
Next month.
yeah,
Oh,
like,
right.
beginning of November, I think.
Right.
So hopefully they're further along than they claim to. I think they are. They just lie to me so that I don't ask for too much information. But I trust these guys so much. Like, they're such little geniuses, and the material that we would get in, even the changes and everything that they would have to stay up like that night and rewrite, would always be something that I couldn't have anticipated. And I consider myself a pretty smart dude and pretty good at story and narrative, and they would always bring in something where I was like, that's amazing, and that's so much better than I, had ever envisioned. I remember 7 and 8 weren't written while we were shooting, and I kept wanting 7 and 8, and they kept telling me certain things, and I envisioned in my head what it would be, and then what they brought was like so much better. And so I was like, oh, these guys, they just know how to do it on the day too.
Let's open it up to the audience for some questions. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
You,
How's it going,
sir.
David?
Hey, how are you, man?
I love you in the show.
Oh, thanks.
I was wondering, like, when you read the script, did you immediately know that the show was going to be so huge?
No, not at all. I mean, I loved it, but a lot of the things that I love are not successful. So, I don't know that I have I don't know that I have taste on the finger of the pulse of society. Like, I think I have good taste, but good in a sort of limited way. So I had no idea that it would be this big and that it would be so, like, the great thing about it is kids that are like 11 come up to me on the street and they're like, are you Chief Hopper? And then people that are like in their 60s. So that broad-based appeal and the fact that you can watch it with your whole family, or your parents can watch it and then you can watch it, is so great. And I didn't know we were making something that cool.
Can I ask, what is something that you love that is not successful?
No. I mean, like, every play that I see. Like, no one goes to theater anymore, but true. Like, I love plays, and like, yeah, no one loves them, so.
Same. Next question.
Hey, so you said that you were used to playing mostly bad guys. With the success of this show and your recent movies, do you feel like you can change the type of roles you're playing, or is there something else that you would rather want to play? And also, what happened to your foot?
That's a two-part question. Yeah, I really want to play. You know, I don't really boil the world down into good guys and bad guys, although movies do sometimes. I want to play three-dimensional guys, but I would like guys that make decisions that are better decisions than a lot of times I play people that kill people. And like I'd like to play guys that make more better decisions with their life. But I would love to play three-dimensional heroes, which I feel like we had a little bit more of in the 70s and the 80s with like Raiders of the Lost. You know, I would love to play like Indiana Jones or, you know, like these guys that were messed up but did the right thing. I love that trope. And I love when you can make that trope three-dimensional and make them really real. So I would love that. This happened to me. I was doing a play. I was doing Shakespeare in the Park in New York, here in Central Park. I was playing Achilles in Troilus and Cressida. You guessed it. I snapped my Achilles tendon playing that part. I literally was lunging for some guy, and it just tore in half. And yeah, it wasn't painful at all, by the way. If you need an injury, like go for the Achilles tendon. It's really great. It wasn't painful at all, but I had to get surgery, and so I'm recovering from the surgery right now, lying on the couch a lot.
How long are you in recovery?
It's been 5 weeks now.
Will that boot be on for season 2?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. The boot should come off in a week and a half, but yeah, the boot should come off in a week and a half. I have some like Emmy parties and stuff coming up and I'll be wearing the boot for that though. So if you look at pictures, it's like really fashion forward. I think next season everybody will be wearing a boot, an Achilles tendon boot.
Next question.
Hi. I just wanted to know if there's any difference filming a show like Stranger Things versus The Newsroom, because I watched that as well. So I just wanted to know what differences there were between the two.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, you're still shooting a TV show, and there's a lot of the things that go into that. But The Newsroom had at its head like Aaron Sorkin, right? Who is a very accomplished, very smart, has a certain rhythm that's his rhythm, and that he wants you to do that. And so that was really, the show was his show. And this was more of a ragtag band of weirdos. Like, I'm a weirdo, those little Duffer Brothers are weirdos, you know, all the kids are weirdos. And we were all down in Atlanta, and we didn't know what we were making, and we were insecure. We didn't know if what we were making was good. We'd go home at the end of the day being scared and tired. And so it was a very different experience. Where Newsroom, where it was slick and polished and it had a certain power to it, this had a more of a feel like the pickup game, like the replacement team. We're kind of coming in, trying to do our best. But ultimately, like, it bred a humbleness before the work and a humbleness before the story that I feel like we really were like, well, let's just tell a great story. And I like that.
Do you worry that going into season 2, because of all the success of season 1,
terrified.
it'll be hard to hold on to that humbleness?
I'm terrified.
So you have a little more, you still have some of that humbleness.
Oh God, yeah, even more. I mean, I think we have to do double the work now because, you know, so many of these shows you get like, you know, you have success and then you get like, oh, well, I'm just going to say coffee and contemplation flow. Like, just run around, be like bald.
Just get 11 out there. Everyone loves 11. I don't know.
But yeah, exactly. Like, just put her out there, have me say a catchphrase, and like, we're done. But I think we really want to, now we want to take it to the next level.
What is Harper's catchphrase? Sorry.
Mornings are for coffee and contemplation.
Oh, there you go. I didn't realize that was a catchphrase. There's
mugs, there's T-shirts. More coffee and contemplation flow. Yeah. Yeah. We want to take it to the next level. That's what's so exciting is that I think everybody is so smart and so capable, and we are still like, yeah, this success is great, but let's get back to work. Like it's cool, but like now we want to bring you something so extraordinary that you're going to be like, season 2, you're just going to be like, whoa, we didn't think anything could be better than season 1. Like, this is amazing. So we're like humbled and excited to get to shooting again.
Absolutely. I think we have time for one more question right here.
Except I have 2 questions.
Okay, do it. Two-parter.
One, you seem to be very into your craft. What would you have been had you not been an actor? And the other question is, Stranger Things season 2 will probably be a little more sophisticated and polished because you've done it before. How do you think that might detract from what you enjoyed about season 1.
I'll take the second part first, please. You're right. The polished nature is something that we have to struggle with, or at least incorporate into our process. Like, we have more success. We'll probably have a little more money in the budget, and I think that we have to acknowledge that, as opposed to trying to fight against it and trying to pretend. So, but it's going to be a challenge, because I think part of the clunkiness of season 1, or the things that I look at and I'm like, is part of what gives it its charm. So we're going to have to find something in season 2 which is more extraordinary, and I don't even know what that is yet. But it can't have pretend clumsiness. We do know what we're making now. But I mean, one of the interesting things that is with the characters is that the characters have survived an event in their town. And so Hopper and I mean, it's so fascinating to me, like acting in, like, Millie is this extraordinary young actress, right? And she's playing a girl with superpowers on the show. So the complexities of the ego that must happen with that type of thing, and the struggle with that, is all inherent in her. Or like, me having success is something where Hopper himself was sort of struggling, and now has battled this demon and saved this child. And so he goes into season 2 with that confidence, more of that confidence. And so hopefully that's where we start the story, and then we'll see where it takes us. In terms of being something other than an actor, I don't know that I could be anything else. I mean, I'm just not very good at anything else. Like, I'm really not. Like, I try. Like, I try writing and like drawing and all kinds of artistic pursuits, and I'm just no good at it. And I'm just good at acting, and I just love it so much. So I've sort of crafted my life around that. But if I wasn't an actor, I mean, first of all, if I wasn't doing it at this level, I would do community theater. I would do plays in my backyard that no one would see. Like, I just have a need to show the world, express to the world how I see the world through human beings. And my body is my instrument. I can't do it with a pen. I can't do it with a brush. I do it with my face and my body.
David, congratulations on creating the iconic character of Stranger Things, and thanks for being here, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.